Yo, what's up guys, it's the Mma Analyst here to do my prediction video for UFC 152. It's been a minute since we've had a UFC or a Zuffa event. There's been lots of MMA and you know, some of it's been pretty good. But yeah, when it comes to Zuffa, it's been a minute and here we are, back at it again. And let's get right down to it. Main event, Jon Jones versus Vitor Belfort. You know, the funniest thing I remember from all of those talks and all the talking about Jon Jones and, you know, why would he fight Chael Sonnen? You know, Chael Sonnen doesn't deserve, you know, everybody that was basically saying, go Jon, you know, you stood in the face of homeboy and you didn't fight Chael Sonnen because he didn't deserve it. What the heck? Vitor doesn't deserve it. What is the explanation for that? Whoa. But let's be honest here. We all know what the situation is. Vitor Belfort is out there to try and go against the heavy odds. And what's going to happen in this fight? Most likely, Jon will keep Vitor at a distance and to get the takedown. I mean, Vitor Belfort's takedown defense is far from the best. Jon Jones's wrestling is definitely good enough to throw Vitor to the ground in any various manner he may desire. The way that Vitor Belfort wins this fight is in the first round by knockout. If he hasn't knocked out Jon Jones by the end of the first round, and really the earlier the better, first 90 seconds. If it hasn't happened by there, it's over for Vitor Belfort. More importantly, if you are looking at Vitor Belfort and he's standing around trying to get ready to counter and he's not aggressive, remember old school Vitor? Run across the cage, throwing all these types of punches, light him up. If he's not doing that, it's over. Now, the one thing about Jon Jones that a lot of people aren't really paying attention to is his hands. His hands are actually okay. It's the weakest part of his game, in my opinion. Other than what we don't know, which is on the ground, off his back. How good can he be? I don't know. But from what we've seen, the reason he uses all of the kicks and the push kicks and the teeps and all that craziness and spinning kicks and flashy kicks is because even though his arms are 88-inch reach and whatever, his main bread and butter for striking is kicks until his opponents are hurt. Then he'll use a clinch, use a striking. Even in the clinch, he's good with the hands. But when it comes to straight boxing, I'm going to just move around and do what I got to do. No, it's move hands out to keep that distance. Imagine you trying to fight somebody who's got this much reach on you, and he got that in your face. These big old fingers, all right? That's what he does. He keeps distance with his hands. They're distance keepers. And anything that gets too close, he pushes you away. He's not going to go out there and use his hands to beat solid strikers. Not off the bat. He'll use them to finish a solid striker who's tired. He'll definitely use those elbows on the ground. But standing up, he needs to use the little knee pushes and all that crazy stuff. And that's what Vitor Belfort has to try and do. He has to try and get past this. And if he can do that, then he can knock out Jon Jones. If he can't do that, well, it's going to be long or short of a night for him. And the odds are heavily favored against Vitor Belfort to pull off this upset. I don't think he's going to pull off the upset, but you know I'll be rooting for Vitor Belfort. Jon Jones ends up getting the fight to the ground and either winning by submission or elbows, TKO. Joseph Benavidez versus Demetrious Johnson. I think it's a pretty simple situation for this fight. Demetrious Johnson is good, but I think everything that Johnson is good at, Benavidez is better at. Demetrious Johnson's fast. Benavidez might be faster. Demetrious Johnson has pretty good wrestling. Benavidez has very good wrestling. Demetrious Johnson has pretty good hands. Benavidez, also has good hands. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everything that Demetrius will want to do, I think Joseph Benavidez is going to be able to do it better. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest discrepancy will be takedowns. I think Joe Benavidez will get the fight to the ground whenever he wants. He'll be able to control from the top. And I think that will be the name of the game. Will he get the submission? Will he get the guillotine choke? I don't know. But I do see him taking this fight to the ground. And, just, not getting knocked out on the feet, not getting taken down, and getting takedowns for himself. So, I've got Joe Benavidez winning this fight, unanimous decision. Michael Bisping versus Brian Stann. All right, so here's to hoping Bisping gets a win here and then actually is given a title shot, because that would be a great fight to watch. But anyways, this fight. Michael Bisping, who actually I like more at this point than I ever have in the past, is going to be the better striker. He's got better wrestling. If he gets the fight to the ground, he can control. And that's what he needs to do. He needs to do his little, pitter-patter, moving around, getting the points, and then when it gets close enough, get the takedown. Get that takedown, tire out Brian Stann. Once you tire out Brian Stann, the rest is pretty simple. And I think that's what he's going to do. Obviously, the big problem is if Brian Stann can connect Michael Bisping. If he's got powerful hands, he's decent striking. So that's what Bisping has to worry about. But it's not like Brian Stann's striking is, he's great. It's just that it's okay. So I think Bisping can use superior footwork, superior jab, circling to the weak side, and then eventually catch Brian Stann, lock up, and get the takedown. After that happens, I think the next time Brian Stann stands up, he'll be extremely tired, and then getting him to the ground will be easier. The threat of knockouts will be less and less and less as time goes on. Does Michael Bisping finish Brian Stann? Probably not. I say Bisping wins by decision. Matt Hamill versus Roger Hollett. So Matt Hamill's not retired? Okay, so he's back. And he's fighting Roger Hollett. Okay, so there you go. There's the fight. Hamill gets the fight to the ground and wins via superior wrestling and top control, or Roger Hollett knocks him out. But the problem or the thing is Roger Hollett's likelihood of knocking out Hamill before Hamill gets him to the ground and completely drains him of all of his fight is very low. I've got Matt Hamill winning this fight via TKO on the ground. Solid ground and pound. I'm going to say in the first round. Cub Swanson versus Charles Oliveira. This is kind of like Benavidez versus Demetrius Johnson in a way, where they're kind of pretty decent at both. Like, they're both they do the same thing, but Charles Oliveira does everything better. His jiu-jitsu is better. His striking is better. I just see Charles Oliveira not really having much of a problem with Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson, obviously, I think he can put up a fight, but I think there's going to be a certain amount of accumulative damage that Charles Oliveira is going to put on, and eventually, pretty quickly, actually get the win. I say Charles Oliveira first round, could be knockout, could be submission, but definitely a first round finish for Charles Oliveira. Undercard, not as easy as the main card. I'm going to go with Igor Prokayets over Megalesh, Evan Dunham over TJ Grant, Sean Pearson over Benoist. I'm going to go with Jimmy Hedges over Brimage. I think the toughest one to pick other than Prokayets and Megalesh is Baczynski or Thorson. I'm going to go with Seth Baczynski. I'm also going to go with Wallel Watson and Charlie Brenneman over Kyle Noak. So there you go. UFC 152. That's it. MMA. It's important. Peace.